No. I haven't anyway.
Who's all the bidding for?
Use it for the board appointments. And oh, I'm back around. Yeah, I never win money, so I was excited. I won $200 and I just walked away. Yeah. I don't usually go downtown. I've been there 3 times, I think, and I won $200.
That's always nice.
Yeah.
Better than the
I was
alternative.
trying to think of her name. She won $107,000.
Margaret.
Margaret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. You have to bet a lot bigger than I do to win that kind of money. It's pretty rare that I do, but we go to Vegas and Garrett goes and gambles and I go to the spa.
You come home and show us up for your money at least, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Can I steal this pen?
Matt's here, right?
Yeah, who's here already?
Same board, yeah. Board of Adjustments.
Trying to talk to myself, but
Yeah,
it must be nice to me.
you said thank you. Thank you, Bruce. I know, how many years?
That was long span. Span's been a long time.
Oh, really? Because you were on it long before you were on the council.
That was problem we had when we got on council. We did that much and they'll stay on it.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
No, just kind of a joke. I could build on what I was seeing before.
Good joking around the room.
About anyone brave enough to mess with.
Can't wait to hear it.
It's not gonna have the impact now.
No, I'll wait then.
I'll bring it out. I like get the timing right.
Okay.
He was kind
Mr. Worthing?
back up.
Just wanted to check that you can hear us.
Yeah, one is on council as well.
On what? I didn't get
They did give me elected vehicles. Step up. But
For the what? I don't know.
Mr. Worthen,
They didn't ask for it.
Yes, ma'am.
can you still hear us?
meeting Thursday night.
Yes.
Okay, I had the sound off quite often, so thank you.
Thank you. We would have been there in person, but they closed the interstate. We tried the county roads.
If you need it, I'll call it when
We understand.
Yeah, no.
It's happened to all of us.
We did the math on going to Medicine Bow and around, but it just didn't work.
It's really,
Well, and that road probably wouldn't be good either.
Yeah.
Guess everything around it looks nice.
Have any other receipts?
I know,
It's weird.
weird.
I had to turn on the radio this morning, talking about riding in the blizzard, going to work over in Saratoga this week.
I know. I was on interviews all day with some people from Rock Springs, and they had gotten snow.
Yeah.
Just us and our route.
What's Mario and Jenny doing tonight?
You know, I'm not busy anymore.
Okay, they're all here.
Rawlins City Council. 8B.
You have to table.
You just go cancel.
Well, it'll be when we get there, you'll,
Both of them.
yeah,
There's one's for visionary and the one's all.
yeah, yeah.
Gary, I was thinking, well, what if they had a monster truck version of it?
Oh my.
Where it could flip you.
Just watching that video made me sick.
Yeah. It was pretty wild.
Did you get down to Disney?
I did. Yep.
Oh, and bought me a new hand.
Oh, nice.
In Cheyenne?
Yeah, it was super well done. Got all my stuff, dry roads all the way back. Didn't get anything.
This is,
Yeah, pretty much dry all the way back.
and this is an escort.
I turned around and there was no more Steve.
Steve said, I'm not gonna sit here and listen to this.
Yeah, you should have waited till the end. It got real.
Contentious?
Very last question at the when the governor and the secretary of state and all those guys were talking about the very last question to the secretary of state. I was like,
Was it one of the 5 questions they had? Was it the 5th question of the 5?
no, it
Or
was
was
from
somebody
the,
else?
from the audience. He got a taste of what it's like to have your constituents sit in the room.
You can't hide from them.
Yeah, you can't. Front line. Have fun.
Been there.
Yep.
No, it's never fun. Takes a week to get your chairs and shit out of your head.
Did you read what those checks were that were given out before we drove out that? Just come down, school. It was. You heard Kawhi broke his hand. Yeah.
All right, it's 6 o'clock. Please join me, we'll call this meeting to order, and please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lynn, will you conduct a roll call, please?
Madam Mayor Jacqueline Wells.
Here.
Vice Mayor Darrell Garner.
Here.
Councilmember Derek Elliott.
Here.
Councilmember Tanya Lumen.
Here.
Councilmember Terry Pedersen.
Here.
Councilmember Steve Sanger.
Here.
Councilmember Bruce Seeloff.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, moving down to the approval of the agenda. Councilmember Singer.
I move to approve the February 17th, 2026 City Council agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, the motion's made and seconded to approve the February 17th, 2026 City Council agenda as presented. Any discussion? Lynn, will you open online voting, please?
Online voting is open. Online voting has closed. The motion passes with 7 yeas.
Moving down to the approval of the consent agenda. Councilmember Singer.
I move to approve the city consent agenda of February 17th, 2026 as presented.
Second.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded to approve the City Council consent agenda of February 17th, 2026. Any discussion? Lynn, will you open online voting, please?
Online voting is open. Online voting has closed. The motion passes with 6 yeas and 1 nay. The 1 nay is Councilmember Elliott.
All right, moving down to some public hearings. The first public hearing is to approve the City of Rawlins 2026-2027 renewal of liquor license. I will open this public hearing. Is there anybody here that would like to speak on this matter? Okay, seeing none, I will close that public hearing and move down to a public hearing for a special resolution amending Appendix I, Public Works Fees of the Rawlins Municipal Code to add a right-of-way permit fee for subsurface work performed by franchise holders within the public rights-of-way. I will go ahead and open this public hearing. Is there anybody here that would like to speak on this matter?
What's up online, guys? I think we have a few online, Madam Mayor.
Okay, who would like to go first?
I'll go first. This is Brian. I'm the CEO of Visionary Broadband. If that's okay?
Yep, please go ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate what staff has done to get to this point with the franchise ordinance that we're working on. I think it's been tied to this resolution with regards to underground. And I would encourage the council and those involved to invite other participants into the discussion. We're happy to working group. The reason why is this has been closely tied to the two franchise ordinances on the agenda as well, and the cost of the fee structure here is a question. We're happy to pay documented and reasonable fees, but this fee structure adds nearly $1 a foot for construction, and I know our company is planning on spending over $2 million this year on construction. There's a possibility that we have to cross off some areas of Rawlins that we'd normally planned or would have met our guidelines for construction. And the closest analogy I have is I'm sure that the mayor and members of council have received bids on projects for water or sewer where $1 a foot kicks the project out of bounds and can't be approved. That's similar in our case, where we try to meet a certain guideline, and the projects we're embarking on this year are, we will spend nearly $2,000 a home of our own money, which we've not asked for any sort of financial arrangement or support from the city, in order to build a fiber network past multiple homes and businesses. And this fee could kick some of those projects out of bounds for our guidelines for return on investment. And so as a private enterprise, we're always cautious to make sure we run a good business. And this is a surprise for us. Taking a step backwards and looking at a 30,000-foot view, there are other utilities that this impacts, not only the phone company, CenturyLink, but it also impacts the cable companies, Charter, and then the question is how it impacts Black Hills Energy and Rocky Mountain Power. So my comment would be that there's some more work to be done on this document. We're happy to participate. We definitely don't want this document to be tied to the franchise ordinance later on in the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Who's next on there?
There's a Kyle Barton.
Kyle, would you like to speak?
Yeah. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Hi there, Council. I'm Mike Morris. I'm with Charter Communications. I office in Cheyenne, Wyoming. I'm sorry I couldn't make it over there today. I just found out about this fee structure earlier today. I would echo a lot what Brian has said. We would love to participate in some sort of working group to come up with a fee structure that works. There should be an independent cost study to support any imposition on permitting fees that are not nominal, and they should be cost-based. Also, as Brian brought up, this only applies to one class of users, and they should it should not be discriminatory. And this specifically calls out franchises. So Charter would request that this maybe be moved to a council work study, and we would be happy to participate in discussions.
Thank you, Mr. Morris.
Thank you.
Is there a Kyle that would like to speak? Who's the other one?
Mr. Hewitt for a different agenda item.
Oh, okay. All right. And come on up.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Marty Carollo. I am with All West Communications. The only thing that I would add to the discussion on that is that in the proposed resolution, there's no differentiation between overbuild, such as what Visionary and I are looking at, and maintenance of a plant. Those are two very different animals on how they impact staff. I think we're all aware that the projects that we do need to make sure that they do not impact staff and the city finances with a disadvantage, right? We're willing to pay our way. But these fees, it's hard to know if it was based on a best guess or if there was some idea of looking. For instance, we've had some of our areas where they've been in that 17 to 25 cents per foot that were the fees that were generated to handle staffing. So I think there's that would be our point on with the telecom and those of us using the rights of way, is that these fees actually be by law adequate. They can't be revenue generating. They have to be revenue neutral, and we're not afraid to pay our way. We just not sure we haven't seen any documentation as to why the dollar per foot number came from, and we're not opposed. So we think that there's an opportunity here to make sure that we're all on the same page and that we're all working together to meet those needs. And certainly on the maintenance side of things, those are part of why we pay franchise fees, and those are really pretty minimal. Usually, but certainly on an overbuild, it's going to be fairly significant. So we would like to make sure that we're all on the same page working together, and I think a working group would be advantageous. And like Mr. Worthen, we would like to see the franchise agreements carry on the third reading, and we'll talk about that. I don't want to get ahead of it, but as we look at trying to get our contracts in place, all of those things in order to have a fee structure tied to our franchise could potentially stop a project in its foot if we can't get our contractors in place and the hardware. And we're getting ready, quite frankly, we're all looking at in Wyoming alone, hundreds of millions of dollars that are going into broadband through the BEAD program. And so hardware is going to be difficult to get, staffing, construction workers, all those kinds of things. So we're really kind of looking at this year as a great opportunity to maximize our build, because we just don't know what the next 3 to 5 years are going to look like. So with that, I would stand for any questions.
All right, thanks, Marty. Any further comments on this public hearing? Okay, we will go ahead and close this public hearing and move down to citizens' participation, which is a time set for public comment by resolution number 2C 1996, and it sets a time limit of 5 minutes, with the provision that the 5-minute time limit may be increased at the request of the member of the public or any council members, subject to the council vote. Anyone here that would like to speak on something that is not on the agenda? Okay, moving down to board appointments and presentations, and we will go down to approving a Rawlins DDA position resignation. Councilmember Sanger.
I move to accept Rita Sondergaard's resignation from the Rawlins Downtown Development Authority Board effective immediately and direct community relations to advertise to fill the vacancy for a term ending December 31st, 2026.
Second.
All right, the motion's been made and seconded to accept Rita Sondergaard's resignations from the Rawlins DDA Board effective immediately and direct community relations to advertise and fill the vacancy for a term ending December 31st, 2026. Any discussion? Lynn, will you open online voting, please?
Online voting is open. Online voting is closed. The motion passes with 7 yeas.
Okay, moving down to a Board of Adjustments reappointment. Councilmember Patterson.
Move to reappoint Eddie Archuleta to the Board of Adjustments for a term ending January 31st, 2029.
Second.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded to reappoint Eddie Archuleta to the Board of Adjustments for a term ending January 31st, 2029. And I see that he is not here, so any discussion? All right, Lynn, will you open online voting, please?
Online voting is open. Online voting is closed. The motion passes with 7 yeas.
Okay, moving down to another board appointment for the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. Councilmember Patterson.
Move to appoint Shannon Hunter to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee for a term ending December 31st, 2028.
Second.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded to appoint Shannon Hunter to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee for a term ending December 31st, 2028. And Shannon is also not out there? Okay. All right, any discussion? Then will you open online voting, please?
Online voting is open. Online voting is closed. The motion passes with 7 yeas.
All right, moving down to another board of appointment for the Shooting Range Advisory Board. Councilmember Sanger.
I move to appoint Ryan Bjork, is that right? Okay. To the Shooting Range Advisory Board for an unexpired term ending June 30th, 2027.
Second.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded to appoint Ryan Bjork to the Shooting Range Advisory Board for an unexpired term ending June 30th, 2027. And I believe Ryan is here. Would you like to make a few comments, Ryan? About why you'd like to join our board?
Come on.
And I'm just a lifelong user of all of our shooting ranges, born and raised in Rawlins, and I want to help continue the shooting sports in our community, pretty much.
Thank you so much for applying, Ryan. Any further discussion? All right, Lynn, will you open online voting, please?
Online voting is open. Online voting has closed. The motion passes with 7 yeas.
And Ryan, I have a little gift for you. Thank you so much for applying.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
All right, and I just want to mention that we also have another Park and Recreation Committee, 1 adult and 3 youth positions available. We have a Rochelle Ranch Golf Course Board, 2 positions available, Urban Systems Board, 1 position available, DDA, 1 position DDA, 1 position available, and the Shooting Range Advisory Board, 1 alternate available. So for anybody that's interested in joining one of our boards, please check out our website. Moving down to reports and information, the city manager and staff reports, and I will pass it over to you, City Manager Hall.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. Last week, let's see, we had 5 out of our 7 council members and some staff members, myself, city attorney, and our finance director, attend the WHAM conference. I think that shows great support for our community, and it sends definitely a message to a lot of people throughout the state that we want to stay engaged as a community. And as the city attorney was mentioning this morning, there's just a lot of stuff that we were able to partake in and learn, and of course a lot of people that we have conversations with. So just wanted to thank everyone that was able to take time to attend those. The building that burned down at the fire last year has been demolished, and all the concrete is also being taken out at no expense to the city. And this is being taken care of by Union Pacific Railroad. They're handling the entire process, and we thank them for that. I drove by today, and Lou said there was a big hole there, but I just see kind of a nice flat spot. And then mostly just some piles, I think, left over. Specifically, I think they're taking some of the metal to the Rock Springs landfill. Maybe just a cost thing there. This week we're going to continue with our budget meetings. Our finance director and myself, we have our city attorney's department, and as well as just follow up with some of the ones we already have. And so I feel like those processes are going quite well. We're getting a lot of good interaction with our department heads, and it's been a good process so far for Laura and I. The contractors have completed some of the soil drilling portions on the phase 2 part of the Lawrence property, and so we should be getting that report. I don't think this week, but probably next week they should have that done, so we'll see how that goes. I think Lou was up there today. It's looking pretty good tentatively, so we'll see what they come up with. Just as a reminder, I think they're going to drill 5 or 6 sites on the property to check that out. So that's good news. The city, another bit of good news, the city's still moving forward with an individual who has expressed interest to be our concessionaire for the restaurant, Rochelle Ranch Golf Restaurant this summer. Kind of interesting point of fact, I and a few other staff members and stuff decided to do a little reconnaissance work and actually stopped and had a couple burgers at the Crow Bar over in Laramie the other day on the way back, and I believe I think our rec director actually went over and had me on talk to the gentleman again, and so I think the next step really is just trying to work out with him when he can come back over here and meet with myself, city attorney, rec director, probably go out to the site again and just kind of start to finalize what that relationship is going to look like for the summer. But we're very optimistic about that.
Yes.
And then finally, I'm going to go ahead and a man who's very comfortable in front of the mic, I think, in this room, is I was going to invite Chief Ward up here, and he has some announcements as far as what happened with the police commissioners meeting. And so I'm going to turn it over to him.
City Manager, thank you. Speaking publicly is one of the scariest things I actually do. Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. One of the greatest challenges in policing involves the fact that the community that we serve, and this is the same all across the country, frequently aren't quite sure what we do, or more importantly, why we do it. It's one of the reasons that community engagement is so important for us. We're constantly involved in trying to educate the people we serve on who we are, what we do, and why we do it, why it's important. It's a constant, I don't know if struggle is the right word, but it's a constant theme in policing, and I've seen it longer than I've even been in my profession. And what I do and what the men and women I work with and lead do is a profession. What we do is not a job, it's not even a career. And I firmly believe that people who enter policing, and it's a term I use generically to include all law enforcement, they follow a calling. Throughout my career, I've known that whenever people following this path are candidates to enter this profession, whenever they're asked why they want to do this, the top answer is always to help other people. That is our primary motivation in everything we do. Protection of life, protection of property are top core of our mission. Tonight, I'd like to tell you a little bit about what the men and women of the Rawlins Police Department have been up to. Last Wednesday at our quarterly meeting, we had an award ceremony. Many of you were going to Cheyenne for the WHAM conference. Apologize that you weren't able to be there or that we weren't able to invite you in the future. I will correct that. So I want to tell you some of the awards that were given to the men and women of the Rawlins Police Department, our employees, the men and women that I am lucky enough to work with and lead. So I'm going to start with the Distinguished Service Medal, which is an award given to a member of the department who distinguishes themselves by performing in a stressful situation with risk of injury to themselves, risk of their life, and while doing so, they clearly demonstrate courage, skill, exceptional tactics, and judgment above and beyond what is normally required on a daily basis. Two of our members, Lieutenant Jared Frakes and Officer Amber Yardley, were given this award for a call that they handled last summer. It was a call for a suicidal person here in Rawlins. They were told when they responded that there were no weapons involved. Lieutenant Jared Frakes was the first on the scene. He was told by an occupant who was outside that there were no weapons inside. He went inside to speak with the subject the call was in reference to, and when he went into the residence, that subject immediately pointed a rifle at him. Lieutenant Frakes remained calm, communicated with the subject, negotiated to save their life, while also communicating with other officers who were responding. One of those officers was Officer Amber Yardley. Lieutenant Frakes instructed her over the radio to bring a less lethal device with her, a shotgun loaded with beanbag rounds. And there was a deputy on scene as well. I watched the video of this, I wasn't there, and I watched the body-worn cameras of Lieutenant Frakes and Officer Yardley. I can't tell you how impressed I was with their actions. To face down the barrel of a rifle and continue to talk to somebody to try and save them, risking their lives in the process, giving good instruction, good commands, good communication, is nothing short of amazing to me. And they were successful in doing so. They were able to take the person into custody. I believe they saved her life in the process. They were awarded the Distinguished Service Medal. One of the awards that has a special place in my heart is the Life Saving Award. I believe one of the most noble things anybody can do is save somebody else's life. I've seen this in Rawlins over and over. And I don't just say that because of it happens, but it's more common here than what I've experienced in the past. I spent most of my career with a much larger police department serving a much larger community. And we also had a much larger fire department. Where I used to work, the fire department ran the ambulances, and the police weren't even dispatched to medical calls unless there was a dispute or something suspicious. So for a police officer for most of my career to save somebody's life was rare. It's not rare here. I have seen the men and women of this department right in front of me and on their videos from their body-worn cameras save lives over and over. I work with heroes, and I tell them, I've been a cop for a long time. I've never saved anybody's life. I've never performed CPR. And I've watched the people that I work with do it a lot. So during this ceremony, we recognized 8 different events where officers of the Rawlins Police Department saved the lives of citizens that we serve. And in these events, typically multiple members of our department were involved. And it's not surprising to me that many of them are listed more than once. They've saved multiple lives. It's a heavy responsibility. After these events, when I thank them and I shake their hand or give them a hug, I hear something over and over. It's not just the seriousness of saving somebody's life, which they are very grateful to have been able to do. It's why they are the police. It's why our firefighters are the firefighters. But they mention the times when they weren't successful. And they carry that with them every day. And they still come to work every day. In order to achieve the success of saving a life, they've had to endure failing to do so as well. That's a lot for anybody to be asked. So of these 8 events where lives were saved, one event involved Lieutenant Jared Frakes and Lieutenant Daria Hooper. Another event involved Sergeant Tom Gamblin. Another event involved Sergeant Chris Craig and Lieutenant Jared Frakes. Another event involved Lieutenant Jared Frakes. Another event involved Sergeant Tom Gamblin. Another event involved Sergeant George Phillips. Another event involved Sergeant Tom Gamblin and Lieutenant Jared Frakes. And the 8th event that was recognized last Wednesday involved Sergeant Christopher Craig. I think that Jared Frakes and Tom Gamblin have maybe saved more lives than any other 2 people I know. We also issued an award called the Meritorious Service Ribbon, awarded to members of the department who act alone or as a team for a highly unusual accomplishment under adverse conditions with some degree of hazard to life to the member, team, or other person. One of these events, and we were catching up a little bit. We've given awards out twice since I've been here, and quite frankly, it's not often enough. We've fallen a little behind. So we were catching up on some of these. This occurred in 2019 with a subject armed with a rifle in a hotel here in town. These officers responded. It was, if I didn't say so, did I say so? Chris Craig, Tom Gamblin, Sergeant George Phillips, Lieutenant Jared Frakes, Lieutenant Richard Hooper, and Lieutenant Daria Hooper contained the situation, ensured that the public wasn't exposed to it, took control of a hallway and confronted a subject armed with a rifle. They used less lethal force to take that subject into custody while risking their lives to do so. The other event occurred while I was here, and it involved Sergeant Kyle Murphy, Sergeant Christopher Craig, Lieutenant Jared Frakes, Lieutenant Richard Hooper, Lieutenant Daria Hooper, and this had to do with a wanted subject in a vehicle who was brandishing what appeared to be a pipe bomb. This occurred here in Rawlins on the east side in an industrial sector of town, and it ended up in a standoff with a person brandishing what appeared to be an explosive device. It also occurred during a blizzard. It was very cold. It was snowing sideways as it does, except for this winter. And it lasted for about 6 hours. We requested the assistance of the Sweetwater County SWAT team. I am very familiar with response times, and even if they had been closer, it would have taken them a couple hours to get there. It took them a lot longer, and I'm not criticizing them, but to come from a place normally an hour and a half away, mobilize first, and then respond when I-80 is shut down because of a blizzard. The officers on scene, which included Rawlins Police, Carbon County Sheriffs, and Highway Patrol, maintained this standoff for hours. And when Sweetwater came to help us, they quickly concluded the event, and the subject was taken into custody. The other awards, I'm just going to mention briefly. Internally, we issue a faithful service ribbon for years of service within the police department, minimum of 5. Tina Schinkel from Victim Advocates was awarded a 7-year ribbon. Leah Kettner from Animal Control, 10 years. Sergeant George Phillips, 7 years. Sergeant Christopher Craig, 16 years. Sergeant Thomas Gamblin, 20 years. Senior Communications Officer Christine Mackinnon, 22 years. Lieutenant Jared Frakes, 24 years. Lieutenant Richard Hooper, 26 years. Lieutenant Daria Hooper, 28 years. Communications Supervisor Valita Rodabaugh, 28 years. We also gave out, and I'll be brief, specialized unit ribbons. So Officer Colton Hallisey has a K-9 that is very important to our mission. He is our K-9 unit right now. Officer Amber Yardley, School Resource Officer, and Sergeant George Phillips, Drug Recognition Expert, which throughout my entire career is a training that is known as among the toughest that we can go to. It involves a lot of medical training, and it's brutal training. We also gave out instructor ribbons. So with the amount of responsibility that law enforcement is entrusted, we want our people to be trained the best they can be. In Wyoming, due to our rural nature, that means that frequently we must train ourselves. So we rely on our employees to become certified through the state as instructors to train the rest of us. And this is in addition to all the other things that we ask them to do. Other than the very newest officers and the very newest employees, all of our officers and employees are instructors that train the rest of us on the critical skills that we need to learn and maintain. We have 3 firearms instructors, we have defensive tactics instructors, emergency vehicle operations instructors. So during this session, we had a number of officers who became certified through the state to instruct the rest of us on the skills that we need to do our job and accomplish our mission. They are Officer Colton Hallisey, Officer Kevin Boraboo, Officer Amber Yardley, Sergeant George Phillips, and Sergeant Kyle Murphy, who have all spent time becoming certified and learning how to train the rest of us on the skills that we need. Thank you for listening. I'll pass this on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief Ward. Matt, do you have anything to add? Moving down to City Attorney report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Honorable Council. I had a very, very educational time at WHAM. It was one of the most informative WHAM sessions that I have been to. There was a lot of discussion regarding the tax structures, backfill, what a lot of the options and implications can be. So there was a lot of great information presented to the municipalities and a lot of forward thinking and critical thinking that was very helpful, and it was fantastic to have such a great delegation of Rawlins representatives there. I really don't have a whole lot to update right now. Manager Hall covered a lot of my bases. And then we also have some of these items on the agenda tonight, as well as that we've been working diligently on in the past several weeks and in the coming weeks. Unless council has any questions, I have no further updates.
Thank you, Attorney Mayberry. City Council updates. I just have one comment before we proceed with the rest of the council. WHAM was great, and I think that Rawlins was probably, per capita, the most well-represented out of the whole state, but I could be biased, and I didn't run the actual numbers, but we were very well represented across the state. Councilwoman Lumen.
Yes, WHAM is quite a benefit to the cities, all the cities in Wyoming, especially with the people we have in place in state government at this time. The number of bills that are trying to go through. I can't imagine each individual city, you'd have to hire a person just to keep up with all the bills that are going through. But WHAM does that for our cities, shows us which ones would affect us positively and which one would affect us negatively, and work really hard to get the ones that work for us positively passed, and work really hard to make the people voting on them understand how they could negatively impact us. There were lots of informative classes this year. There was one on the budget. Some of the changes they're making there is us being even more transparent, which of course we have no problem with. However, they're choosing to put things on the internet without us actually looking at it first, and there's some mistakes being made in that process as far as our budget. Like I said, no problem with the public knowing, but we want to make sure the public has accurate information on that one. Another thing I went to was one on tax exemptions, which was interesting. There's 51 to 53 tax exemptions in Wyoming. And to my logical mind, I would think that before anybody made a tax exemption, they would find out how much it cost us first. They don't do that. It is amazing to me. You would think they would figure out how much it costs the state before they don't. And some of the things that are tax exempt, like high school yearbooks are not taxed. It's like, why? There seems no rhyme or reason, but that's where they are. So it was very informative for that reason. Also went to things about our economic future, and looking at where we are there, our economy, lots of facts and numbers, and I'm sure our finance director was delighted at some of these meetings. They were speaking her language, which is pretty exciting. And the fact that, we have some problems in Wyoming of not growing and remaining flat, not attracting the younger people that we need here. Also went to a seminar about chain of command, and that was really good. Sheridan has where they have a little mission statement about our values that they give to all the employees. It's a way to have employees, give them some pride in what they're doing, the reason why they're doing it. Like Chief Ward said, public service is not for the weak of heart. And no matter what you do, when you do it for the city, it ain't for the money. You have to have a real passion for your town and the people that you serve. So that might be something we look at to give to our employees as well. Also talked a little bit about, and since this is an election year, having something in place with group norms that we can give to new council members. This isn't a new problem. Even at the state, they have new representatives that have no idea what government does or how it runs. It's amazing. But to give our council people some kind of basic 1-2, I know that they meet with the lawyer, or when I was elected, met with the lawyer, met with the city manager, but something on the lines of what the council does and how we should respond, and those kind of things might give them a heads up in this process. I said I've always enjoyed WHAM. You get lots of information, and you're working with all the other cities to promote Wyoming, and it's the cities where the people congregate and where we really need the state to understand that the money we have, we're using for our people. And so I just want to thank everybody who went, and hopefully we can use the information that we gathered there to better the city.
Thank you, Councilmember Miller. Anybody else? Councilmember Patterson?
Well, since I was elected, this was my third WHAM. Probably the most informative one that I've ever had. Started off really well. I mean, you walked in there and it seems like you were long lost friends with dang near everybody in that room. So, friendly people. We had a reception on the first night with the commissioners and the legislators, and the governor was there, and I got to meet the governor for the first time. And I actually had a long conversation with him. And his first question was my name. My name tag must have been flipped over, so he couldn't read it. And he said, asked me where I was from. He says, I told him I was from Rawlins. And he says, oh, well, we know all about Rawlins, and so how's it going up there? I gave him the skinny on what's coming on here in Rawlins, and finally he felt his obligation to go on. But I've lived here in Rawlins my whole life, just like Ryan did when he came up and spoke. 68 years, and that was the first time I've ever been in the Capitol building. And I was just in awe. And if Steve wouldn't have been there, I probably would have been lost. Walked in, just people walking everywhere. I couldn't believe it. My eyes were just, and 3 out of 4 of them were probably legislators, either House or Senate. We went upstairs. Don't follow Steve when he goes in the Capitol building, because he takes the stairs first and then we rode the elevator down. There's so many stairs in that Capitol building going up into there, but we got to see the House chambers and the Senate chambers. And then we came back down and we went into a meeting with the governor and the Secretary of State, and they explained a bunch of stuff. They had 5 questions for him, which was very informative. And then we had a lunch and stayed for a little bit after that, and I actually had to go find somebody to tell me how to get out of that building. I had no idea where I was at, but it just seems this WHAM was so much informative. I took a class about outdoor recreation, and it was more of a grant type thing. And being on the committee for the Continental Divide Trail program, I started talking to these people, and there's something that they might be able to do for Rawlins and this area for some of the things that we have and ideas for. So, as Tanya said, there was only one class there that I tried to keep my eyes open on, because I had no idea what they were talking about, to be honest with you. But everything else was informative. It was a good time. And the only other thing that I really learned there is don't ever get in a race car with Daryl, because he's going to crash severely. That's all I got.
Any further comments from the Councilmember Elliott?
So I spoke with a couple of constituents. They said that it would be possible for the city to come up with a GoFundMe account to help with some problems within the city financially. I thought, well, that's unusual, but I guess there are cities throughout the United States who do create full GoFundMe accounts. Were you going to say something? Oh, okay. And they like that the community comes together in Rawlins. I reached out to some furniture stores throughout Wyoming, asking if they'd like to, Wyoming and Colorado, asking if they'd like to possibly come into Rawlins and create a remote store, and some of them seem interested. I reached out to the state penitentiary asking if there'd be a possibility that we'd be able to use any incarcerated people to help with some projects. And they said that currently there's too much of a liability on their side and on our side to do that. I reached out to Pam, our legislative representative, to ask how she's reporting on what she's doing and the progress that she's doing, and I haven't heard back yet. And that's it. Thank you.
Anyone else? Vice Mayor Garner?
I didn't think I'd have to defend my driving skills at this meeting, but if I remember correctly, Councilman Patterson, that same corner ate your lunch as well. So, no, Wham was, it was wonderful. I agree with everybody. We learned so much at this one. It was very, very productive. One of the ones that I found the most interesting was the National League of Cities, and the opportunities that are there. I plan on putting everything together that I got out of that, and I'll send it out to council and staff to review, or not to review, but just to get to see how that's working. If you haven't, one of the things that they're doing, municipalities under 20,000, with a population under 20,000, can sign. We get a free account with them, so it's definitely. I'll send out a link so you can sign up and check it out and go through their stuff. They have a lot of resources on that. So, but if you're in Cheyenne, you get a chance to go visit. I forgot the name of it. Aces. Yeah, that was pretty fun, especially from a virtual reality point of view. So, if anybody's looking for a business idea, swing over, check it out. It's a great one. So, and then I just had one question for you, Councilman Elliott. I'm just curious. And you don't have to elaborate if you don't want to on the agenda, denying the consent, voting no on the consent agenda. This is our 5th meeting, I think, or more. Just curious if there's something that we need to fix, or I don't understand the reason for the vote no.
I see a lot of wasted money on the consent agenda for accounts payables. So if you look at the consent agenda, there's a lot of materials that I believe that can be kept on hand, but they're not. There's a lot of trips to local places to purchase things. There's just things on there I think are a waste of money. And one of them, I believe on the last consent agenda, was a ladder. So how many ladders do we need in the city? And then this one, we had more stuff that should be kept on hand. Also, multiple trips to like Ace Hardware, Bomb Guards within one day, and then spending greater than $10,000 in a 2-week pay period on gasoline. I just think it's a waste of money. And so that's why we've been voting no.
The only reason I ask is just, you know, when we have that come up for discussion, feel free to talk about it, because maybe it is a red flag that needs to be thrown out there, but without the discussion, the no doesn't assist in mitigating the problems. If there is a problem, I'm just thought we'd talk about it real quick.
Yes, I get that, Vice Mayor Gardner, and I've reached out to Matt and spoke with Matt and Cody about it in the past.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving down to unfinished business and an ordinance to approve at the third and final reading and waive the reading of an ordinance granting a telecommunications utility franchise and general utility easement to Visionary Communications. Do I see a motion? Councilmember Singer?
I move to table the third and final reading of an ordinance granting a telecommunications utility franchise and general utility easement to Visionary Communications LLC to a future meeting to allow for coordination with the implementation of the city's right-of-way fee and permitting processes.
Second.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded to table third and final reading of an ordinance granting a telecommunications utility franchise and general utility easement to Visionary Communications. And Vice Mayor Garner, go ahead.
On section 1.1, section 1.01.110, fees and resolutions, it says that all of our fees and resolutions need to be set within the 30 days in January. Since we're outside the window, should we even worry about this until next January?
Right. Madam Mayor, Council, Vice Mayor, according to what we're seeing here by the resolutions, it just really calls for a review in that amount of time. So I think that's nothing that we can always kind of address later. In fact, I think some of the things that have been brought up for fee schedules, we need to kind of address during our budget meetings later on in the year. So I think it's all good, at least for right now.
Any further discussion or questions? All right, Lynn, will you open online voting, please?
Online voting is open. Online voting is closed. The motion passes with 6 yeas and 1 nay. The 1 nay is Vice Mayor Garner.
Okay, moving down to another approval. Councilmember Patterson?
Move to table the third and final reading of an ordinance of the City of Rawlins, Wyoming, granting a franchise to All West Wyoming Incorporated for operation of a cable system to a future meeting to allow for coordination with the implementation of the city's right-of-way fee and permitting process.
Second.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded to table the third and final reading of the ordinance of City of Rawlins granting a franchise to All West Wyoming for the operation of a cable system. Councilmember Singer?
So we're tabling both of these things, and it's clearly over the fee structure. Can we get a comparison between what's in our local area already currently, these guys, what they serve already, so we know what other communities are paying for these same services that we are clearly scratching an itch they don't like?
I'm sorry, Madam Mayor, Councilor Sanger, I'm not quite sure what you're asking, a comparison of what?
What our fee schedule is. They're looking at the 325 for 330 feet. It adds an incredibly large amount of money to their bottom line. Are we budgetarily close to the people around us that use their services for that fee?
It's not just these communications franchises that would be impacted. This would be any franchise holder and or private user in the public right of way. And specifically we can discuss it, in more depth on the agenda item. is specifically, this is for subsurface work. A lot of the new plans that have been provided, and I can't speak to the full detail of this, I'll have to pass the mic to Public Works Director Cody Dill, but a lot of the plans are for overheading work, just a little bit of a subsurface. So it's not every section is going to be subsurface. So I think that's an important distinction, and we are happy to discuss that in more detail when we get to that topic.
Vice Mayor?
Madam Mayor, I apologize for not saying this on the last ordinance we just tabled. We already have utilities working with us. Why do we have to table these to move forward? They're here, they're operating. We couldn't approve these tonight and then work on the ordinance like we're doing for everybody else? I guess I'm confused why we're tabling.
Subsurface work is actually a very rare and occurrence in our city, and so it's we already have a very delicate right-of-way structure. The network with it's becoming more congested with a lot of the providers that are in there already, and so we are just trying to manage, maintain, and provide the proper oversight to make sure that we can address from a regulatory standpoint all of the structures that are in there.
Councilwoman Lumen?
So, from what I'm reading, the reason we're tabling it is so the fee structure can be in place before the ordinance is completed. Is that correct? So if we completed the ordinance now, there is no fee structure.
Correct.
So they would just work, and then in the middle of their work, whatever fee structure we would pass, then they would have to abide by that then. Or it depends on the contract and whether there would be none just because it wasn't at the beginning of their contract.
The permitting process, the fee structure follows the permitting process, and so we really can't do one without the other. They're two players at the same table.
Okay.
Councilmember Sanger?
So I would suggest that we set up as quickly as we can so these guys can get to work. An ability to sit down and talk about that fee structure and whatever is causing the issue here.
Agreed. Vice Mayor?
I was just reading this ordinance again. I'm just going to read it out loud, and maybe you could correct me or help me understand what I'm misreading. It says all fees set, imposed, or collected by the City of Councils, except where specifically required to be set by ordinance, shall be established by special resolution of the City Council, which shall be effective not less than 30 days following passage. The special resolution shall require one public hearing and one vote passed by a majority of the City Council. The final fee resolution shall be published in the same manner as the ordinance. All fees shall be reviewed by the council annually in the month of January. Fees shall be attached to the Rawlins Municipal Code as Appendix A fees. So is this not, it's just for review, not approval in January as well?
That's correct. It's shall be reviewed. Staff didn't have any to present for review, and so there was, other than this, there has not been anything other that needs to be reviewed that won't follow the budgeting process.
Any further discussion? Okay, Lynn, will you open online voting, please?
Online voting is open.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
this reads differently between the two of them. Because the motion says move to table, and the ordinance says approve on third and final reading.
Sorry, I'm bouncing between them.
All west is the table.
Right at the top, it says the ordinance approve the third and final reading. It's like, yay. you're
Oh, in the
approving.
subject?
Should read we're tabling this. Not approving it.
Is it the motion?
Oh, okay.
Well, the motion's different than the
Motion,
ordinance,
the
yeah.
motion's different than what I'm reading on the top of this. Approve the third and final reading and waive the reading.
They both do.
Yeah,
Shouldn't they both be the approved or to table third and final reading? Shouldn't it save that first, not approve?
well, both the motions are the same.
The motions are the same. It's what I'm reading on the top of
The
this.
subject?
Yeah, the subject of this motion is to approve.
Yeah, those are both the same as well. Do you have any comment?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor, Honorable Council. The agenda item details provide suggestions. However, it is the action that matters.
So because it's the third and final reading, it has to say the subject, and then, right? And then we have the ability to
Table, to deny,
table
to
or
approve.
deny. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Kind of.
it's very ambiguous in regards to this. I would be thinking that I'm approving third and final reading. But if we're tabling, and it is going to be tabled, I don't have a problem with it.
I just double check when she sends the motion through.
Okay.
Did I ask you to send it through? Okay,
Right.
all right.
Okay.
I couldn't remember, sorry, thanks. Lynn.
Online voting has closed. The motion passes with 6 yeas and 1 nay. The 1 nay is Vice Mayor Garner.
All right, moving down to new business and the approval of the City of Rawlins 2026-2027 renewal of liquor licenses.
Hey,
Oh, sorry,
You go.
Councilmember Lewin, yeah? Yeah, she was
Got it?
already.
Yes.
I move to approve the renewal of the following liquor licenses for the licensing period of April 1st, 2026 to March 31st, 2027. 1, 307 Horse Racing, Inc., doing business as 307 Horse Racing Retail Liquor License Number 95. 2, Anong's Thai Cuisine, LLC, doing business as Anong's Thai Cuisine Restaurant Liquor License Number 135. 3, Aspen House Restaurant, LLC, doing business as Aspen House Restaurant Liquor License 101. 4, What the Buck, LLC, doing business as Buck Sports Grill Retail Liquor License Number 83. Number 5, Cappy's Inc., doing business as Cappy's Restaurant Retail Liquor License Number 93. 6, Dillon Companies LLC, doing business as City Market Number 12, Retail Liquor License Number 84. 7, C6 Enterprises LLC, doing business as County 6 Bar and Grill Retail Liquor License Number 86. 8, Hospitality Partners of Wyoming, Inc., doing business as Econo Lodge of Rawlins Retail Liquor License Number 138. 9, Ichiban Japanese Steakhouse 2, Inc., doing business as Ichiban Japanese Steakhouse, Retail Liquor License Number 87. 10, BPO Elks Number 609, doing business as Rawlins BPO Elks. Number 609, Limited Retail Fraternal Club Liquor License Number 78. 11, 4H's LLC, doing business as Hole in the Wall Bar Retail Liquor License Number 88. 12, Maverick Inc., doing business as Maverick, number 724, retail liquor license number 85. 13, Mini Mart, Inc., doing business as Loaf and Jug, number 124, retail liquor license number 82. 14, Christie's, Inc., doing business as Michael's Big City Bar and Grill, retail liquor license number 91. 15, Nothing to Whine About, LLC, doing business as Nothing to Whine About, retail liquor license number 96. 16, Peppermill Bar and Grill, Limited, doing business as Peppermill Bar and Grill, retail liquor license number 89. 17, City of Rawlins, doing business as The Ranch, Limited, retail golf club, liquor license number 131. 18, Rifleman Club Bar, LLC, doing business as Rifleman Club Bar, retail liquor license number 59. 19, Shogun's Pizzeria, LLC, doing business as Shogun's Pizzeria and Bar, retail liquor license number 100. 20, Joshnick Company, LLP, doing business as Stinker Stores, number 213, retail license number 111. 12, Stinker Stores Company, Inc., doing business as Stinker Stores, number 215, retail liquor license number 98. 22, Candy Mountain, LLC, doing business as Sunnyside Liquor, retail liquor license number 99. Sumluck, Inc., doing business as TK Spirits and Saloon, retail liquor license number 92. And 24, Cotton Tree Management, Inc., doing business as Turnbuckle, Best Western, retail liquor license number 94.
All right.
Second.
The motion's been made and seconded to approve the liquor licenses mentioned for a period of April 1st, 2026 to March 31st, 2027. Any discussion? Councilmember Singer first.
This is Chief Ward. Is there anything that we should know about any of these that we need to worry about?
Nothing right now.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Patterson.
It's just for a little bit of my own information. Is it legal to have a bar in the same building, two of them?
Madam Mayor, Councilor Patterson, yes, it is. They are actually not in the exact same location. One has, just for illustrative purposes, a 10 by 10 foot locker in on the premises of the other. They are separate and maintains their any inventory they have is maintained separately as well.
And do they keep a separate address?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Locker number 8.
There are two suites there, Madam Mayor. So, What the Buck is in Suite A, 1, sorry, not A. And then Candy Mountain is in Suite 2.
Councilmember Elliott.
How many liquor licenses does Rawlins have?
Madam Mayor, I heard the clerk, but I believe it's 24.
So we have, there is different sections, Madam Mayor and Council. We have 20 retail liquor licenses. It's governed by the state about where our population is. So those are set. And then the others for the restaurant are not governed. We can have as many as we want, and also a golf course and the fraternal one. So yes, so we are governed by certain ones.
Thank you.
So I see the Mexican restaurant La Abuelitas. They closed their restaurant. They had a liquor license. Are they keeping that, selling that, or is it gone? Like
Mayor and Council, La Abuelitas is a restaurant liquor license, so they opted to close their liquor license at the end of December. It is on board docs. I submitted all the documentation to the liquor division. They opted to close their doors before their liquor license expired, which is the end of March 31st of this year. So they are no longer in business. So once if they want to reopen, all they have to do is come to see me, fill out a new application, come before you guys, have public hearings, do everything, and then we'll start all over again. But like I stated just a moment ago, it's a restaurant, and we have plenty of restaurant liquor licenses. But the state knows everything. I forward all the documentation to them, and they were good with everything back in December.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? All right, then will you open online voting, please?
Online voting is open. Online voting has closed. The motion passes with 7 yeas.
All right. Moving down to an approval, the acceptance of conveyance of real property from Sinclair Land and Development LLC. Do I hear a motion?
Can't pull it up. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, mine was kind of,
Councilmember Patterson.
Approve acceptance of a quitclaim deed conveying certain undeveloped real property to the city of Rawlins and authorize staff to record the deed and pay outstanding 2025 property taxes associated with the property.
Okay.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded to accept the quitclaim deed conveying certain undeveloped and real property to the city of Rawlins and authorize staff to record the deed and pay outstanding 2025 property taxes associated with the property. And I'm going to pass it over to City Manager Hall to explain why this is back on the agenda and clear up some misunderstandings.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Council. Yeah, so this was on our agenda previously, and I think there was a little bit of confusion just to start it out on who exactly was conveying the property to it. Mr. Hewitt is actually on tonight, and so before I turn it over to him, maybe hopefully get some remarks, I did want to re-say two things. One, that this is coming from John McPherson and Henry Hewitt, and it is no way related to the refinery, HS Empire. It's a completely separate entity. They have 5 acres and they want to convey it for industrial. The other thing is I directed staff, I asked staff to try and come up with something to utilize of this property. And so that brainchild last time was a little bit mine, so I apologize for that. To kind of scare maybe some of the residents, and one particular for the area, that we were going to set up an asphalt plant there. We've kind of backed off from that. We still would like to use it for our parks and streets, and so we still really feel that we can use that within the Public Works Department. And so we feel that this would still be a good thing, a good piece of property for the city to get their hands on. So with that, I'd like to first ask Mr. Hewitt, maybe if he'd like to make a few comments about this generous gift he's wanting to give the council. And then if you had any other questions or maybe extra feedback from either the city attorney who's been working on this quite heavily, or our Public Works Director for some of his thoughts. I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Hewitt.
Thank you. But I think what we intend to do is the same as what was presented, about a month ago, and there's no change on our end, so I don't have any additional comment. I really feel this is an appropriate piece of property for the city to own, and that's really about all I have to do. Sorry for the telephone.
Thank you, Henry. Do you
have any questions?
Councilwoman Lumen.
Mr. Hewitt, when you bought the property, what was your plan for it?
We've owned the property. The partnership originally had 4 members in the partnership, 2 of which are deceased, and so the partnership has owned it since 1980. We bought that property with the intent of building the airport business park, which a lot of it went smoothly and a lot of it didn't. because of the boom-bust environment that came soon after 1980. But the intent was to develop the property. We had obtained zoning for industrial use. There are special covenants in addition to the zoning on the property that is left in that corner. But all of that was taken care of many years ago, and it's just to have a market that was strong. As you're aware of, you work with it all the time in the Rawlins community. Hopefully it'll be more positive going forward, but it went through some tough times.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Councilman Elliott?
I still believe that it would be bad for us to take this over. We talked a month or so ago about current properties that the city of Rawlins owns that we're trying to sell, and we still haven't received any feedback of those properties to get rid of. For us to get this property and to maintain it, as Mr. Hewitt said, they've had it since 1980, and it still hasn't been developed. It's just something for us to hold on to. Even if you were to use it as an industrial area, it's so close to residential properties. There's noise pollution, there's so much that's going to affect residents so close to that property. I drove through there today, and it's just a stone's throw away from the apartment complexes there on Highland Hills Apartments. So I'm still that this is a bad idea for the city to take over.
Any other discussion? Vice Mayor?
Let me get back to the page. Oh, hold on. Sorry. If I read correctly on here, we don't have any plans for it currently, correct? Besides the Rawlins, the one you mentioned.
Mayor, Council Vice President, Council Vice Mayor. Yeah, we still want to use it for parks and streets. There's equipment, there's things within those two divisions that are just bursting, and so we would use this at least in the short term for storage for some of those things, as well as we'd like to try and charge up the property, make it look nice, level it out, and as well as do some landscaping on the end to kind of create maybe a little natural buffer between the industrial part and the residential area, which per our conversation last time will probably help with exactly what's going on there for the industrial stuff. So that was our plan initially for now.
I do want to mention one thing too, that the council would have to approve any kind of development of that area in the future. So just know that that safeguard is in place. Vice Mayor?
That's my biggest concern still. It's just going to be, this being zoned industrial, hopefully a developer comes in and wants to change it to something, if they're going to do something industrial, something less. If we're going to use it, I hope it stays like what we're talking right now. Because if so, I'll support getting land that if we need it. That's the other thing. Do we need it? Because if we don't have a use for it, leave it in the private sector. That'll always be my thing. So if we have a good use for it and we can use it right away, that's mostly what I'm curious about.
Madam Mayor, our Public Works Director is very confident that this is something we do need. We don't have really any other industrial properties save one, which is a very, very small section that is already overutilized. So this would be something that would go to work for our Public Works Department right away.
Yeah.
And as we get in there and work the property, and of course do our best to honor the gifts that we've given and what we have. I think if we ever decided to do anything in the future, we're going to enhance the property versus more than it is now. And so it will be better down the road if the city, the council decides they want to do something different with the property, but it might be clear for sale.
Councilmember Elliott.
Again, the property's been undeveloped since the 80s. So we have a decrease in population. I don't see it realistically, somebody coming in to develop it myself. Also, there's streets that are not developed in Rawlins that are streets and they're not developed. So why take on another project? I mean, there's projects that need to be completed, and to gain another property to enhance it, it's really so close to these apartment complexes also. And I just don't see a purpose of it. I see the city just throwing more money away.
Vice Mayor?
Councilman Elliott. So I have the same concern, but from what I'm hearing, if they utilize it for the public works, what will go there is, I wouldn't say would be something that would impact residents there. Just if it's used as storage and then upgraded if they're able to, or if approved by council. You know, right now, if somebody goes in, they could put in a plant, because it is zoned that way. That's one thing. That was the big red flag for me last time. I didn't want us to be the ones that do it. You know, if private does it, private does it. But this way, there is a chance to mitigate that moving forward, and that would be something we could have some say into.
Any further discussion? Lynn, when you're ready, will you open online voting, please?
Online voting is open. Online voting has closed. The motion passes with 5 yeas and 2 nays. The 2 nays is Councilmember Elliott and Councilmember Singh.
And I just want to say thank you, Henry, and thank you, John McPherson, for your generous donation. Moving down to a special resolution.
I couldn't hear what action, if any, did the council take?
It was passed, Henry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Special resolution. Do I hear a motion? Councilmember Patterson?
Move to approve the special resolution amended Appendix I, Public Works Fees of the Rawlins Municipal Code. Is that the right one? To add a right-of-way permit fee for subsurface work performed by franchise holders within the public rights-of-way.
Second.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded to approve the special resolution amending Appendix I of the Rawlins Municipal Code to add a right-of-way permit fee for subsurface work performed by franchise holders within the public rights-of-way. Let's start. Attorney Mayberry, do you have anything to add on this?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Honorable Council. As discussed, this is intended to create a standardized approach to managing our right-of-way. It is a cost recovery structure rather than any type of revenue-generating structure. There have been, as discussed earlier on the agenda, there were some concerns voiced by some of the franchise holders and applicants in regard to the costs. As we understand it, based on some plans that have come through the Public Works, the majority of the work is overhead, so the undergrounding, subsurface portion, does appear to be mitigated. And I will be passing the mic to Public Works Director Jill in order to explain how we came upon this cost and the matters that are involved in what is the regulatory oversight that we are looking at.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Honorable Council. We kind of tied this fee structure to any kind of street cut or street repair that is already on our books. Looking with some of these subsurface, the boring, the trenching and stuff like that, it came up in some more recent events that we've experienced within our utilities department. We've had some water break most recently that occurred. And during the break, the hole was full of water. We struck a communication line, and the city was charged $7,500 just for a repair that the trench was 2 foot deep and about 10 feet long. So we feel like, you know, within the public right of way and it's just subsurface boring. On some of these bigger projects, the preliminary stuff I'm seeing is under 30 blocks, which a fee would be under $10,000. Anywhere within that 30 blocks, if we were to hit that in the future, I'm not sure what the fees would be for them to come and do any kind of repairs. So that's the big aspect of what we look at, is what it would cost the city in the future, you know, as far as staffing on any kind of the permitting, the reviews, working around this infrastructure, and any kind of damages that are caused in the future due to emergency water break, per se. So that's a lot of where we're trying to figure out these costs.
Well, did you guys do any research to the comparable cities, like Councilmember Sanger alluded to earlier, to see what they do?
Madam Mayor, Honorable Council, this is actually not a novel approach around the U.S. There are numerous municipalities across the country, including jurisdictions Utah, Colorado, Minnesota, Missouri, and numerous others that have adopted this right-of-way permitting and regulatory structure. And it is completely separate from the franchise ordinance structure. So to expand on Public Works Director Jill's oversight, what the Public Works team does, and including the city engineer, there's also the measurable burdens for staff in that encompass the review of the installation. So there's plan review, utility conflict analysis, field inspections, traffic and safety coordination, mapping and record updates that we need to undertake, coordination with other infrastructure users and right-of-way users, ongoing corridor management. And as our right-of-way becomes more congested, and we're talking about congested, not about traffic on the streets, this is underneath the streets, this is where that oversight becomes more complicated. And in the past, this was not something that we had as much of a concern with. We had at different times, different situation. And so what this is doing is looking at the evolution of public works and the actual realities of what goes into managing our public right-of-way. So again, this is not a revenue generating scheme. This is strictly cost recovery for the actual work that needs to be done and the management overseeing to appropriately maintain our right-of-ways for the future and for all the users. And this is also not a discriminatory approach. This is intended to apply to all right-of-way users. And as a matter of, as a point of clarification, we do have a street cut permit fee. It's $325, and that's a street cut fee, which the distinction is those are, street cuts are surface level type of interruptions to the right-of-ways. They usually are one-time events, plumbers, small contractors. They connect to a single residence and are like a one-time disturbance. Versus a right-of-way, this type of right-of-way, this is traversing our actual right-of-way subsurface, not just connecting to one single property, one-time use. So there is a distinction.
Was there any was
I'm
there
sorry,
any
I didn't
research
answer the
done
question.
to compare Wyoming?
Wyoming actually hasn't started doing this, and I have been apprised by some other municipalities who are currently in the negotiation and ordinance process with with new communication providers, and they are closely watching what we're doing. They are also concerned about the integrity and ongoing stability of their own right-of-ways and the complicated and complexities of the management.
Okay, Councilmember Singer?
So the question was, did we do a comparison? That was the question. Between what this fee is, it could be right. We don't know. Because we don't have anything to compare it to. Both these companies have done work in other places. Have we compared our pricing to what they paid there? Because we're competing, literally competing with other states and communities. And if you price yourself out of the market right when you start, it kind of defeats the purpose. So the question was, have we compared to where this has already been done?
The cost structure is based on, number one, our right-of-way, and also in comparison with how other municipalities will have almost identical structures and that we are proposing and how they have implemented theirs. The costs do range, and they are based on individual and circumstances, the nuances in each municipality where they occur. We've seen the range anywhere from $150 per block to, I don't remember the other, I think $750. And this tied into, this was based on our street understanding the actual cost of what it takes to repair in one block, the labor and the materials for oversight, review, and those associated review processes.
Councilmember Singer?
So my suggestion is, since we've decided that we want them to get together and talk, we can't really make this decision until that part is done.
Yeah.
In all fairness to them.
Yeah.
And their pitch, whatever that's going to be. It's not for us to decide, but I would like for them to have some kind of communication before we sign that document.
Okay. Do you have a motion?
Time frame? No.
A motion.
Micromanaging's not my job. So it would be between them and the Public Works Director and the attorney to come up with, we have to come up with something that tells us, because right now we have no comparison. How much is that house? Have no idea. Why? Because there's no other house. So I don't know what to build it on.
Vice Mayor?
What utilities does this impact? Did you say it's all of them or just?
All of them,
Okay.
which would include Black Hills, Rocky Mountain Power, all of the communications providers existing and future.
One thing I would like to see moving forward, instead of seeing a resolution that's put before us without a conversation with all these players involved in us, or even us first, and then involve everybody. I'd like to see that before we throw this as a, onto our meeting. One other thing, I think it's bad timing. And these guys are coming to town. They're developing right now, and all of a sudden we're throwing this curveball, and I don't think it puts a bad taste in everybody's mouth. I don't think it's a good approach. It's one thing to have the conversation. It's another thing to all of a sudden have this fee thrown right in front of you, right as you're about to develop. And that's it for now.
Councilmember Seeloff, sorry.
So I'd make a motion to table this until city and them guys can get together and negotiate and see what their figures they should be paying to what we are paying. to kind of get together, so I figured we should table this and try with that.
Do I hear a second?
What do we do with the motion that's already on the floor?
There's a motion on the floor. It's a friendly amendment. Who seconded?
Sorry.
Oh,
I did.
sorry.
Yeah,
Would you friendly second it?
I'll friendly second.
Okay. Do you have all that, Lynn? Oh, Vice Mayor.
Can we keep the conversation going? I have more questions for the developers.
Yeah.
I'm just curious if you guys have the numbers. You probably don't. When you guys have done this before, what are the numbers you guys see? Someone mentioned was it, I think, like 25 cents to
17 to 25.
17 to 25, yeah. And then my next question is, that goes with that. When you guys put these in the ground, is there a way for us to line locate? You guys put tracing in and everything.
We provide it.
Okay.
Sorry, Marty.
Mayor, council, we provide all line locating for all facilities work.
Okay.
For our facilities. All utilities do.
Mayor and council, this is Brian, a visionary. We do the same. The most interesting part of that question is we work with over 20 communities in Wyoming. Some issue city-wide permits, some issue subdivision-wide permits. Very rarely do they have a fee that's set like this. But what's most interesting is I've got a staff that cares. They're from Wyoming, they live in Wyoming, and they have an interest in actually constructing well and safely. So most often, we have meetings once we attain the franchise agreement, franchise ordinance, we start to have meetings with staff. We start to understand where your utilities are if they're mapped, and we actually will provide maps of our utilities as well, with the goal of not being in the right-of-way on the one side of the street that is most busy, and with the intent of constructing with as little impact to staff. The type of construction we talk about is not requiring staff to be on-site babysitting. There's a review, there's an assurance of safety, but this is not an onerous load for staff. And I would encourage you to talk to folks at the utilities department for Gillette, Rock Springs, Cheyenne, Casper, and build those relationships, because we have, and this is the first time we've seen a fee like this. And what's most interesting is we're trying to do the math to figure out if we can make an investment work. The coordination between our businesses and your staff is key, and we know that, and I think your staff knows that.
Councilwoman Lumen?
So I agree on what Vice Mayor Garner said. These businesses, they went through and did their due diligence to figure out their cost, and then we throw this to them. I would be interested in knowing what they expected the cost to be before this came up. Another thing that would probably need to be discussed is lowering that price, and then having some stipulation in there, well, if you do break a water line, you're going to pay for it. If you don't, you're all right. Rather than having the cost be, well, in case you break the line. And I would like to see your formula. I'd like to see how you came up with that price. And I know that's a bear. For this foot, how many workers are on it, how many hours are on it, material, equipment, whatever that might be that the city is putting in there. Because yes, I believe the city should be paid back. I don't have a problem with this approach. I do have a problem with the timing. And like you said, the fact that we're doing it and nobody else is, well, that might change as many things do in the future. but we would like it to be fair. And those are some of the questions that I feel should be discussed and answered as you discuss this.
Go ahead.
Mayor Wells, Councilman Lumen, a couple of things. I think our expectation is that we pay our way on these, in these. So these are usually, like Brian, Mr. Worthen said, some have done it by, when we did our build in Kemmerer and Diamondville, we had a general permit, and then we paid the fees that they had to come up with for the management. So we'd meet with them twice a week, and those fees were then covered. Per your question on if anything gets hit, we are bonded and insured. That's part of the franchising agreement. So if there is any damage to any infrastructure, any damage to the roads, any damage, those are all part of our fees that we do pay. So those costs are all covered.
Vice Mayor?
Madam Mayor, one of my biggest concern about these fees, they can get pretty large pretty quick. A good business owner is not going to eat these fees. This is going to go back to the people, our residents, our businesses. One of the most exciting thing about having these guys come to town is we get another option, and it gets competitive. We get the competitive pricing. But if we shoot ourselves in our foot, in our foot, by saying, "Hey, to do this work, we're going to charge you an arm and a leg," that fee comes back to them. It's not. They're not going to see it. We're not going to see it. The person who gets the internet and service will see this. So when we look at these fees, just remember that it's going to get passed to the person that needs the service.
Yeah.
All right, so we have the friendly motion on the table to table. Any further discussion? Attorney Mayberry.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just an additional consideration is that, the longer we delay this with more discussion, is the longer that the providers will be able to finalize their process. As a thought, another consideration is to come up with a nominal fee, at least get this going. We can always modify the fee later.
Do you have a suggestion?
Maybe some of the providers might be able to provide a reasonable suggestion just to get us started so that they can continue with the work.
Vice Mayor?
I don't think we should have this, or I don't think we should put a fee on it right now without having everybody here to talk to. Because it affects them, but it's going to affect everybody that works in our right-of-ways. So I think it's fair to at least invite them all and try to have that conversation, get all the input.
Councilmember Patterson?
I'm with Councilman Garner. I think we ought to have a workshop on this and get everybody face to face and discuss this issue and come to a nominal agreement, either one way or the other, whether we're right or wrong or indifferent. We do have to sit down and talk about it because we're seeing a lot of issues right here that we're not going to be able to solve tonight. I guarantee it.
Councilwoman Lewin?
I would strongly suggest that our city manager and our lawyer sit down and talk with them about a reasonable price. So you can bring this, either bring up a workshop our next meeting, or bring this back up next meeting. Say we've discussed it and this is the reasonable fee that we've decided on with them. That way it's our next meeting's in 2 weeks. I think that would be reasonable to get together with them and discuss it, knowing that the council, I believe most of the council is wanting these people here and wanting this option for our constituents. But at the same time, we also want to be reasonable with the new business coming in. If that would be possible, that'd be great.
Vice Mayor?
Madam Mayor, sorry for all the questions. I do have one for the providers again. What's the impact on the delay? Are you guys able, is this a hard stop right now for you with this being on the table?
The answer is yes, if I may. Without a franchise, there's not a way for Visionary or All West to construct.
Thank you.
All we can do is plan. And in our case, we've actually ordered materials and we've engineered this work. And we're just waiting for approval of the franchise, which I fully agree with the city attorney that it's unrelated to this fee structure.
Is 2 weeks unreasonable?
Mayor Wells,
We're happy to pay for special meetings, and I think Marty would say the same. I've known him long enough. He's a friendly competitor. You have an enviable situation here where you've got multiple people saying they will come and build a fiber network in your city on behalf of your citizens for whom you are administering the rights of way. They want this product. It helps retain youth. It helps retain business, and it might even attract business. And so you're in an enviable position, and frankly, I'm a little surprised that the third reading of an ordinance, which is a standard practice in the communities of Wyoming, and we have over 20 of them, and which is statutorily set by the state of Wyoming to be issued within 180 days by a municipality, was tabled. We approached staff about this in 2024. We missed the entire 2025 build season. Now we've actually got materials in our yard, and we cannot proceed because this ordinance has been tabled. As I said earlier in the meeting, I'm happy, for this reason, I'm happy to pay whatever costs are reasonable and documentable in order to construct in 2026. I want to be a partner with the city of Rawlins. The ordinance would be nice to show that they want to be partners with us in All West.
Mayor, and I think the second part of that is that there are two components. There's those of us who are looking to build, and there's the maintenance. And those are two distinctive things. And I think if you don't include your existing rights-of-way access owners, such as Rocky Mountain Power, on these fees are something they were not expecting either. I think it's reasonable to bring your stakeholders to the table to determine what is a fair and reasonable fees. We all know that there is something there. I think they're almost two different issues. I would agree that we would be interested and be willing to, if it took an extra cost to have another meeting with the staff, I will certainly bring who we need to have those conversations on a build. But we are certainly on hold until a franchise agreement does get signed. And the way this is written, we can't even get the franchise signed until 30 days after this is written. So we cannot make any planning at this point now for at least 45 days, which does put us at a disadvantage for finding the teams to build these out.
I do want to say that I'm not against holding a special meeting. My concern is that we're putting a lot of pressure on our staff to get stuff completed within a time frame. And now we're asking them to push it even further. And I don't want to feel peer pressured in any way over this issue. I want to give the respect to our staff that brought this forward, and also the respect to you guys as potential business owners in Rawlins. I think we all want the same things. I think our big picture is all the same. And I do think our council is willing to, if it's appropriate with our staff and they think that the timelines work out, to set a special council meeting next week if we need to. But I want to make sure that I honor their time, but also honor yours and ours.
Mayor, I think it would be appropriate for those of us to have the conversations in the next 2 weeks and with staff, and then bring it to a regular meeting as either a workshop or doing. I think we can come to a reasonable conclusion on the fee structure. I don't think it's not overly out of control. I would say it's something definitely we're willing to work with. But I do think we need to bring in the other stakeholders because they are heavily impacted in that. And it would be inappropriate for Brian and I to speak for Rocky Mountain Power and for Black Hills.
I agree.
Adding to that, Madam Mayor, Marty's specifically talking about the fee structure, the ordinances, and the possibility of a special meeting would help us stay on track. I know from our standpoint, and to answer the question of council that was just asked, we've got materials in hand. We planned on work starting April 9th. We've actually escalated that. And so we're actually in a bit of a standstill situation, wondering, do we ship these materials somewhere else just simply await this ordinance? So they are not tied together. Happy to pay our way, like Marty says, but we've missed a build season before. I'm nervous that we're going to miss a build season again. And the thing I would add to this is, if I was building a $2 million building in Rawlins, there'd be ribbon cuttings and there'd be people happy to see a shiny investment, because this is in the ground. It's not ever seen again, but it's used every day. And there's not a lot of people that understand what we are doing here. Not a lot of use of the right-of-way has been done since between the 60s and the 90s. And the opportunity here for Rawlins is big, and I want to be a part of that. And your citizens really want this.
Well, let me ask my staff, is it appropriate to have a meeting set up either the 25th or the 26th, a special meeting? Would you be able to get your data together by then and get these stakeholders at the table?
I don't think so. I think we can do it as quickly as you like.
Let me ask my council, is the 25th or the 26th better for you? Vice Mayor?
My thought is, we could do the ordinances right away, within a week, get those going, or sooner, to get that just moving. And then we could work on this special resolution during our budget season. I don't understand why that can't just be done then. Then it gives plenty of time to bring this to the table in front of everybody. I'm not sure why this impedes the movement on these two, because either way, they want to have the conversation. So if we move the ordinances up right away, get those passed, and then work on our fee schedule with this resolution including, that's the perfect time for all of it, I think.
Kind of,
Councilmember
I'll
Seelow.
piggyback off him is, what is the difference of us passing theirs so they can get busy, and then us working on this and getting it passed, is with all the rest in town, they're working right now on it without it. We're going to surprise them with something too that we probably need to discuss it with them so everyone's all on the same table.
Any, I guess, comments from staff?
As stated by Visionary, this working the right of way hasn't occurred much. There hasn't been much action there since between the 60s and the 90s. So this is a new thing. Staff's intent is to preserve and to be able to manage the right of way. And we do agree that all of the
Comments from staff? As stated by Visionary, this working the right of way hasn't occurred much.
Oh, that's you.
There hasn't been much action there since between the 60s and the 90s. So staff's intent is to preserve and to be able to manage the right of way. And we do agree that all of comments from staff?
There's definitely a little bit of a delay. Having all the stakeholders is absolutely appropriate. Our circumstance, and a discussion between all the stakeholders is warranted. Circumstances are unique to other communities, and The only concern, and this is speaking for the, I can't speak for the new providers, but I do understand their delay, and we are trying to do, good faith effort to keep this moving ahead. We do see the benefits from the staff's perspective to our community, for the infrastructure, or potential other benefits that come having this in place. It's just a matter of getting all the players in place. But I do want to note that both Laura and I are going to be out of town the 25th and 26th at a conference. If we can coordinate with the players ahead of time, I'm not quite sure how we want to do this, whether it's a full work session with council or a more informal with stakeholders, and then we present something to council through a meeting with something that we've come to an agreement with on our own.
Option 2. I think we go with option 2. And then, then hopefully we could have everything ready by the next council meeting.
As long as they can meet.
Okay.
And I'm willing to work within whatever we need to do to facilitate this. It just those 25th and 26th for a meeting is just not going to work.
Okay. All right.
And we can coordinate offline if we can just get some. We will staff will reach out to everybody to get some dates and try and coordinate a time, whether it's an in-person or whether it's remote by Teams.
Okay, thank you. So going back to the the friendly amended motion of tabling this.
Move
Any-
to table the special resolution
Yes.
amending Appendix I, Public Works.
So let's refresh our lovely little board docs,
Yes.
and we'll go ahead and,
Councilmember Patterson was first, and then Councilmember Lumen was second.
Madam Mayor,
yes?
sorry to interrupt. I'm having a hard time hearing you, but I do believe it's appropriate to approve the Visionary and All West franchise, and then we could have some time afterwards to hash out the permit fee schedule, and let them get busy working.
Thank you for that comment. I think we agreed that we will work on the approving third and final reading at the next regularly scheduled meeting. And staff will work with you guys in the interim of that period to get everybody on board. All right, go ahead and open online voting, Lynn.
Online voting is open.
Madam Mayor, how should we vote on this?
You're
tabling it.
So you're voting for tabling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't tell you how to
Sorry.
vote, but I can tell you
Yeah, right.
that's what you're voting on.
That's what you're voting.
Madam Mayor and Council, didn't the motion come up about move to table? If you
Yes.
get
It says move to
refreshed?
table.
Motion, move to table.
Okay.
That's what it
Okay.
says.
Online voting has closed. The motion passes with 7 yeas.
All right, moving down, and I don't know if you have anything further to add to our discussion, but we had a discussion item for Visionary Communication LLC updating the city council on our progress of their ongoing fiber optic project being built within the city of Rawlins. So I will pass it back to you for an update.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. I think you've heard from me plenty. I'm sorry for the angle. I'm sitting outside a gas station on Teams here. I get to talk about the fun stuff now. We started in Wyoming. A couple of my buddies started the business. We have 240 employees. We're building fiber in multiple communities. But what's most interesting about the project we're talking about, and I think this is applicable to the other providers that are actually in the room and on this call, is anytime we're spending time in the community, we're spending dollars on fuel, room nights, meals, that all generates sales tax. And so I don't want that forgotten. The construction period, which we envision starting in April, as I said, there'll be construction crews from my team, from contractors, and the amount of sales tax benefit to the community should not be overlooked. Once the equipment's in the ground or once the materials are in the ground, we pay property tax on that. And then on an ongoing basis, that's what the franchise fees outlined in the ordinance are for, is to actually help the city recoup any staff time that was spent on the original construction. So the opportunity is interesting, but what's most interesting to us is the ability to build on our own dime and not ask for assistance. We grew on our own, and we grow in a responsible way where we try to gain customers. And this is not like the gas company, this is not like the electrical company. We have competitors, and they're in the room right now. And what's most interesting is what was said by council just a few minutes ago, where when you have multiple providers, you have choice. And we all know Starlink's out there. They're not going to spend money on property tax in the community. There's nothing to gain from a sales tax standpoint. And so I would say your strongest partners in this arena are actually in the room and on the phone today. We'd like to be a partner with the city of Rawlins, and we ask nothing other than access to the right of way, with the hope that we create a viable business that is there for years to come. The product that we're building is fiber. This product is the best product on the horizon. There's nothing after it. There's nothing being developed right now that is better than fiber. It will be placed in the ground, and we will have a multi-year relationship with the city of Rawlins, and I'm excited to embark on that with you.
Thank you, Brian. I think we're excited to embark on it as well. Councilmember Elliott?
Would this provide any jobs for citizens in Rawlins?
The more customers we gain, the more likely we have employees in Rawlins. Right now, we would service Rawlins out of most likely our Rock Springs location, where we have an office and we have staff. So, of course, it's part of what we do in Wyoming, and I've known this for years. I've watched this all since I went to college at UW. It's about job creation. It's about retention of youth. It's about attraction of business. Of course, you would want us to create as many jobs in Rawlins as possible. The more business I gain, the more likely that is. The opportunity is about that investment, and what's from this a little bit. It'd be easy to say I'm going to create 3 jobs. There's also the possibility in this new world where smaller and smaller data centers are put closer to power or closer to where communities are friendly and business friendly, that this attracts a new type of business around Rawlins. So it's not just what I'm building and what Marty proposes building and what Mike has already built is actually has potential to gain business through other means. I'd love to create 2 jobs in Rawlins in the end. During construction, there could be 40 or 50 people at the same time spending time at Rawlins.
Any other discussion? Well, thank you, Ryan, for trying to attempt to come to Rawlins and sitting on by phone. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, with no further business that needs to be brought before the council, we will adjourn the regular meeting at 8:04 p.m. And we will continue with our workshop, but we're going to take a brief recess to use the facilities and fill up oxygen.
Wherever he is, it's snowing.
Yeah.
He's bringing that to us if he wants.
Yeah, no, there's no heavy window inside. That's why you didn't make it.
Absolutely. And in the interim, if you have some ideas or approaches, I think we'll all have.
guess. I probably did.
Go down there. Go options.
Right, well, and also pricing, and then how, what is the free structure, what, how are they considering it in some of these other, just that flat blanket fee?
They can provide you numerous, I'm sure we're going to do the same thing, numerous outside of this planning as well.
A large majority of their stuff above ground.
Yes.
Black Hills Energy.
Yeah, well, that is the
Charging 325. Anybody else that has some Did you just tell them that? Did you just tell them what you're
But they, I don't
They don't. They don't pay.
Go the other way, we've had some pretty good fees
Right.
on our septic system, our sewer lines. I'm gonna charge them.
Now we're charging, what we do, and right now,
That's the biggest mistake.
this seems, and we've done this before with other things. Oh, we're about to pass something. No, let's have full fees. Let's have this.
All we can do is.
No, that's not the time to discuss it.
Well, I mean, I understood their point
You know.
about saying just pass the ordinance right down, then we can discuss the fee structure, but then you go past the power in the city's hands to do their.
Yes.
That's what I was worried about. That's why I was.
You're just gonna do this, you're gonna
Yes,
take it out of our hands, because they're gonna walk in and say, hey, we have an agreement here, you don't charge any fees right
Absolutely.
here.
So, yeah. I was also
I mean, it's not.
There was pressure.
Well, and that's what they're trying to get done, so that they can continue to move forward once they put something in the ground.
And there's,
They don't have
and
to
you need to
construction,
see what
they just put it in the ground.
Right. And so
You're gonna check that now?
So there's
That's
that.
why I was asking.
Yeah.
Who's the one that's gonna get beat up? It's Black Hills Energy. Every pipe they own is underground. That's the 125.
But the majority of what these guys are doing is,
Yeah.
I mean, there's some stuff they'll try
I
to
know.
do something. They're just gonna
which is a whole different thing.
come in and go, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Whoever owns their pipelines, I don't know who owns their pipelines, but whoever owns their pipelines.
And mostly that's what's already in the ground, so.
Yeah, but this means that they pay that.
this means
Oh,
if
even
there's
no
a
matter what.
problem,
Oh, if
or
there's a
they are
problem, yeah.
expanding something,
Yeah, yeah, I get
this is
that,
your
yeah.
new fee, hello.
Yeah.
So at least calling them and saying, hey,
Yeah.
this is what we're
I
considering.
agree.
So you know, it's changed, we've done that.
Yeah.
Beat on each other, let's bring back this number.
That's what I was, you're
Yeah.
like, option two. I was like, yep, option two.
We'll do two. We don't need a workshop, we don't.
No, you
No.
bring us a number that you know agree.
Yes, and then we're good.
We can stay out of the fight.
That's what we came out for, right?
Stand in the middle here,
Negotiation.
get your guys whooped up one side and the other. We'll sit back here and go, what is 125?
Approved. Fee structure approved. Franchise approved.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
You know Black Hills Energy is sitting at home right now going, oh, no, no.
This is you.
Yeah.
You didn't know about that? You're the only one that didn't know about that?
No, no. See it though.
We'll make it short.
We don't have to vote on anything, do we?
No,
No,
it's a work session.
you just can listen to Steve talk.
Huh?
What is a light?
You got that, don't you? Huh?
It's on your screen.
Yeah, it's on
It's
board
on your
drives.
handout right there.
I'll show you on computers.
Well, I have mine, you have a printed handout.
You
I like
love
mine electronic.
computers.
Yeah.
Yes, I do until they don't work. My work is off.
This last week.
I like it when they don't
I
work.
still am a sticky note person. though.
Technology the
You
last
should
week.
see my desk. It's like 50 sticky notes. That,
I'm gonna blame this,
I know, it's terrible.
I'm gonna blame this on my daughter. So I have a debit card and 2 credit
No,
cards.
because they have.
My daughter said, oh, they're having this sale of American Girl doll stuff.
No.
Go to this website.
No, we can do this. Because they have it on their screen. And this is,
Money in there, what's, I mean, I'll just pay it on your site. Because I assume you're not going to. And it didn't accept it, but I know how this works.
They steal your credit card? Yeah.
So then,
Yeah.
oh, there's fraudulent activity in New Jersey. Now, that failed. But then I gotta wait 2 weeks for a new card.
But you can use your virtual. You do virtual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can pay my bills. My bills are all through my checking account.
Yeah.
That's no problem. Grocery shopping and
Yeah.
stuff. My daughter, this is hilarious. Well, Mom, you didn't always have cards. You can use cash or check, you know.
I can, and it's your cash I'm taking.
Yeah.
It's like, really, daughter? Really?
All right, we're going to go ahead and open up the work session at 8:11, and I will pass it over to Councilmember Singer.
So,
Thank you.
thank you. So a couple years ago, I went out to Rim Lake as it was overflowing on the bottom end because we were filling it. And we were filling it at the request of the BLM to put water back in the lake so they could restock it with fish. And the bottom of the lake has a small gap between the left side and the right side. And I went, you know, if you put a dam across here, you could build a lake. And that's when I went, well, duh, what do we do with our water now? When we don't use it, where does it go? And currently, it goes onto the ground. And as soon as it touches the ground, it's not our water no more. So I went to the BLM and I talked to Andy Williams, who's the Recreation Service Director, and said, I want to do this thing. What do you think? And he goes, whatever you do, don't bring me a drawing on lined paper with a little dock here and some campgrounds sketched on there. Don't do that. Bring me something that I can actually sell. And then if we agree that this is a great idea, and his exact response was, it's like laying under an apple tree waiting for an apple. It's that simple, because we're already doing it. We already fill their lake up. Whenever they don't have runoff, we fill the lake up. Did we get this is a question, Matt, did we get a call from them to come and fill that again? That lake? Cody?
So, in relation to that question, we do not get calls from them to fill that lake. That the only water that the lake gets is any kind of overflows from Atlantic Rim. When we have too much water coming in from our springs, we dump it into Atlantic Rim. At some point, both of our reservoirs are topped off. They have overflows, and that overflow then discharges into Rim Lake. So only in years where we have too much water that we can use and we actually are discharging from the reservoirs, do they get water. They do not ask us for water, nor do we give them any water.
Okay. So how this came about, I went and saw Andy, and he goes, this is kind of simple. You dam the bottom, you have a lake. And I went, okay, and don't bring me a hand drawing. So this is the non-hand drawing portion of this. It goes through the context of what's around Rim Lake. By the time you get to the third page, this is where it tells you why we're doing, or why I want to do what I want to do here, which is currently, if all 24, I have a printout from 1960 from when the state's Office of Engineering came here and did a water study here in 1960. And their flow rates out of the 24 spring boxes that they counted was 4,320,000 gallons a day. We don't use that much water. And we don't use water the way Mother Nature makes it. She doesn't have an off switch, so when we're not taking water, it's still being generated. So that's what the project intent is on page 3. I guess it's page 3. It's the one that says project intent. This will be really short and really simple. The really important page is this page right here. And it's important because it says, once I figured out that the surrounding area, the lake bottom is 7,150 feet, the surrounding area is 7,180 feet, up to 2,200 feet. You can see how much space would be taken up by that water. That's the picture on the right-hand side. The best part about it is, if you're storing that water in that space, it is a capacity of, give or take, 4,500 acre feet. And in gallons, that's 1,500,000,000 gallons of water. So if we break anything, we have water 8 miles from town. It doesn't matter if we break anything in the mountains, because you've got 5 years worth of water sitting 8 miles away. So, and it's right where Atlantic Rim is, so essentially all we have to do is pump it back out of that lake and put it back into the Atlantic Rim, and then it's water that you can use at any point. Of course, all that has to be agreed by the BLM. The best part about this is part of Rim Lake currently sits on Aggie grazing land, and the other part sits on BLM land. So they must have agreements with Aggie grazing already about what they can fill up and what they can use as far as water goes. I would guess that they would have to have that already. And all of this stays on those 2 pieces of property. It doesn't leave those 2 pieces of property. And then you can read through this whole thing. And then the BLM side of this, of course, is the next couple of pages, program ideas and stuff like that. And it kind of sets up the ability to go out and fish and do all the stuff that you would normally do camping. We would have to make some adjustments to the Continental Divide Trail, which the Continental Divide Trail people were going to do anyway. They were going to move it anyway. And then my favorite page is the very last one. If you will look at the top picture right there, that's my car. And that's the drone guy. That's his car. And the bottom one is how much the lake would take up. That's how much water you're referring to, is right there. So this is it's a simple process for us to continuously bring all of our water here first, before it goes anywhere else. Before it touches the ground, it's in our pipes, it's in our system, it comes to us first. And once it gets here, that's what you get. And it's really simple, because we just have to overflow the Atlantic Rim Reservoir. That's the extent of what you have to do. That and build a dam. And if we're lucky and they give us whatever the form is, it's a 299 FS, something or other 299. If they give you that form, that means that they're going out to all of their partners and getting them to come in and partner on this process, on this project. So the Riparian League, any bird people, anybody that does fish, anybody, they might tell you, we need you to leave an island in the middle so that those birds that nest on islands have a place. They might tell you something like that. The Audubon Society, Bureau of Reclamation, lots of big money, that kind of stuff. If we can figure out how to build a dam, I think we could figure out how to keep 1 billion gallons of water 8 miles outside of town. So, there you go. Super simple. I would read through it. The part about the 4,500 acre feet just kills me. That's a lot of water. Oof. And you don't ever find, you're not going to ever find that just 8 miles outside of town. And it's already coming here anyway. That water's coming right past the Atlantic Rim. That's where the water line is. So it's already coming this way. So there you go. Super simple, super fast.
Does Aggie grazing have any rights to the water there?
There's no water there. That water ends up there because we have broken stuff.
Originally, you had water there.
Yeah, that's
It
where I
don't
learned to
now.
canoe.
Yeah, it's up to years it hasn't, but it was originally. True, 4 years ago it did, but I don't know, that would have to be one thing a person had to find out.
The lake was originally able to be there because Atlantic Rim Reservoir had a leak in the liner originally.
So again,
You
we
could
gave-
follow that creek all the way from Atlantic Rim right in.
So,
or
as
to
before,
the-
we have broken stuff, so we made a lake.
And then, like you say, drive to South Highway, you can see those vents up there by the road. Just puking water out there severely.
Right.
And that all ended down in there.
Right, that's
But the
the
only
broken
question
stuff.
I would have about this whole thing is, you're in an alkali pit down there.
Mhm.
So there's gonna have to be some form of treatment to keep that alkali from destroying that lake.
And you are a specialist in this, Mr. CO2 guy.
CO2.
However you
It's the only way you can take care of alkali is with CO2.
see.
You gotta adjust the pH of that water.
On the pickup, only in the line, only in the water in the lake?
Only on the water in the lake. The
Right.
water coming in from the pipeline's already gonna be
Pure as
pure.
Pure as gets, right. So,
Because there's another lake that sits a little bit farther south that we called 8 Mile Lake. I'm sure a
Still
lot
on
of
the map.
people know.
yeah,
But that's a dead lake because of the alkali down in there.
Mhm.
So there's gonna have to be something done with that. And I mean, it's a simple solution, very simple. They have to do it down at Kirk Gowdy State Park on those two lakes down there, Crystal Reservoir. They have to inject CO2 to keep the pH in balance. So it's not an impossible task.
I wonder if those grants we learned about at WHAM would be any
Absolutely,
helpful.
because there's a water side to those grants.
Yeah,
So
be interested to look into it.
waving your hand at me.
I know. Great presentation. Love things that gives us more water. However, it's missing next steps.
That's because there aren't any until I'm done with the BLM.
Okay. So this
Because
is
they
just,
would have to
here's
say-
an idea, just
Yes.
sit
Don't
and
bring it to me on a drawing.
stew on it,
Right. Yeah,
and then
no,
the next steps are coming, because
Yeah,
there's
you
gonna
will-
have to be,
they will have to say, yes, we think this is a really good idea. And it does fit what BLM is trying to do, which is public use, public property for recreational
well, my
service.
son loves fishing out there. Last year was really good fishing.
So that would be the thing that you're
where
We
looking
don't
learn to
eat
canoe.
it, we just catch them and release.
Yeah, so that's all it is once they decide, yes, it's a good thing. I mean, they could just take my project and say, yeah, no. They literally could. And then, I'll hunt them. No.
Okay.
But if they say that that's okay, and we think this is a good idea, part of the conversation I had with him, well, do we move the picnic tables? No, he goes, you just push them in the lake.
What?
I went, what? He goes, it's habitat for fish.
yes.
I went, oh, okay, well, I wouldn't push it in the lake. I'd take it over there.
You
but
could
that's
build an
just me.
island.
What if we need the picnic tables?
What if I want to keep it? No,
Put on some scuba gear.
Yeah, yeah. But he said, yeah, once we look at it and say, yeah, we think this is a great idea, and it's simple. It's a very simple concept. We already have water that comes here. If we just say, in the middle of the winter, when we're using 1 million gallons, but the springs are still putting out 2, you can dump 1 million gallons every day. In the summer, when you're not yet cranked all the way up, but Mother Nature is, you're just dumping water.
I believe it, BLM means it's recreational. BLM has processes to get money too.
Yes, they
Yes.
have.
Because
Lots of-
recreational.
That's what we need is money.
So, yeah.
That's the next
Money
step.
solves a lot of
Money,
things.
That's the
that's
next
the
step.
page, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's once you get to the point that say, yeah, this is a great
That
idea.
everybody
Then you
agrees.
can sit down and go, okay, brainstorm with me. CO2, how do you do? You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's simple. All right, see, now you're gonna be smart.
Well, that's how it's done, literally.
Yeah.
Put it in the, if we're putting water in, you put it right up there where the water's coming in, and let it disperse.
There you go.
There you go.
And then you can eat the fish.
I would not have known that.
Yes, you can. Don't get me wrong, I think this is a fantastic idea. Fantastic. If not for only young people in this community,
Yes.
for travelers that come through and spend the night.
The Continental
Or
Divide.
the elderly people that can't get way out in the forest and everything like that. They go out on an evening and want to go fishing
Yeah.
or kayaking or things like that. It's a great recreational opportunity for this community. And we can advertise that as such. So,
Yes.
What do you think the price range would be and the longevity for it to get done? How many years do you think? Just off the top of your head, I know you haven't got with them yet.
Because I'm not an engineer, so I can't really answer that question, because I don't really know.
Sure.
I just know the flow rate of water that we currently have, and where is it going, other than Nebraska? Because it's going to Nebraska. It eventually gets to the North Platte, and then it goes to Nebraska. The goal is to not let it ever leave a pipe that we don't own until we get full use of it.
Yeah.
And then we can, and full use could be a number of different things.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of crazy stuff that could go on. I mean, if you have that much water, doesn't Sinclair always need water?
Yeah, well, and I don't,
Simple. They're simple like that.
yeah,
Yeah. So you
it's a
can
good
take-
idea.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right.
Well,
There you
thank
go.
you, Steve. Vice Mayor?
Well, I think it's great. You're hitting the mark on all the aspects for this. It's hitting recreational. It's hitting a backup plan. So if we have a huge failure or need to, that's the worst case scenario. Is
If you have to
something
shut
bad
down your
happens,
main
but,
line for any reason, you now have water already there.
Especially if it's past the nugget wells, and if it's in between the nugget wells and Rawlins, or we have the backup reservoirs
Yeah.
in the river, but this is another great source for it. And then you got potential money from other investors that would. I don't see them not wanting to, unless there's just some weird thing that we're just missing. You're missing on
Right.
this, but.
Well, the thing that always takes the most time is NEPA. And that's where they go and see if there's Indian rings or, artifacts or stuff like that. But since there's a lake there already, I'm sure they've already done it.
Don't let FEMA know about this.
Huh?
Don't let FEMA know about this.
The flood zone.
The water would run the other way.
Oh, I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
It would go the other, if the dam broke, it would go the other way.
I don't think there's any problem with that because they've already done all the study to put all the put the recreation area in there already. So they've already done all the study on it and everything. There's no problems.
Cody, what's our current storage capacity of water in all facets? Peaking, the, Atlantic Rim, all of our tanks. Do we use water out of our
Just
reservoir?
pick it off the top of your head.
Off the top of my head, I couldn't give you that because it's acre feet and peaking and Atlantic Rim is the way we measure it. I could get you the numbers on it.
Because I think it's a huge jump over whatever we have storage-wise currently.
Yes.
how much water does City
Yes.
Reservoir hold out there in Sage Creek Basin?
What's that?
How much water does the City Reservoir hold out at Sage Creek?
I want to say like 15 to 20 maybe. I'm not sure. I can't remember those numbers off the top of my head right now. But I can absolutely get them for you.
I was just curious.
Steve, Councilman Sanger, you're running for office?
Am I
this year?
running from office?
Are you going to run
Did you
this
say
year?
from office?
No. That way you can
I'm
see
sure
the
that's what you
completions
said.
of this.
Yeah.
Good.
So there we go. So there you go.
Definitely
I tried to
have
make it
time to
short.
champion it through.
Yeah, well, that's more than anything. If they say yes and it's just a dam, I'm sure I know somebody who wants fresh water that will pay for a dam.
Yep.
So a few years ago, how did that Rim Lake get drained? I mean, why was it dry?
It just dries
Rim
up.
was prepared. Minor
They fixed Atlantic Rim,
Yeah.
so now they don't have any overflow filling the lake. And when we're not in full water use, when we're in full water usage, nothing is going into Atlantic Rim, it's just going over to the treatment plant. So we're taking all that water, so there's nothing to put in there. But
Okay.
in the springtime, when we haven't even turned our sprinklers on yet, and we have fountains all the way down the highway
Yeah.
from water shooting out, that's where the water's going, is over there.
Oh,
It just goes
okay.
down that hill and into that little area.
They had a brilliant idea years ago because, like you said, 8 Mile Lake out there was an alkali bed. And they came in and they diverted all the water that came down that canyon over and built what's named the lake up to
Teton?
Teton.
Oh.
So, and that was the purpose of it, was recreation, the place.
And that is run down the little
And it never panned out real well. So, because years there wasn't enough water. So,
There's probably a huge period of time that there's not enough.
yeah, there's times there is, there's times there isn't.
Right.
The water
So-
that was in there was more pure Grim Lake.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why I was making the comments I did.
Yeah.
Not trying to discourage it,
Yeah.
but
No,
say,
you were in charge of CO2.
Tom, the dam
Well-
broke a couple of years ago, didn't it?
Mhm.
Is it correct, is it fixed now and filled
Well,
up?
as far as I know, Teton's reservoir.
no, it's not, it's still got a big cut in it.
Yeah.
BLM did that on purpose.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah. But now they don't have to rebuild that one because they'll have a much larger one.
Yeah.
Well, they got the idea to build Rim Lake out there. And like I say, I don't know where they even anticipate the water to keep going from because, like you said, where the water was coming from.
Yeah.
But,
When you have broken stuff, you feed
yeah,
ponds. I
yeah.
guess.
And so once it was, everything kind of got fixed.
Yeah, it slowed all of that down.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we fed it because we had broken stuff. Why don't we just do it on purpose?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
but-
and not have broken stuff.
Yeah, and not have broken stuff, but do that on purpose.
Yeah.
No.
Well, thank you, Steve.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Beautiful presentation. And we'll adjourn this at 8:31.
Hey, when, do we have a,